Network from our newsroom in Los Angeles. I'm Andrew Siciliano. Coming up, a couple of college coaches. Manny Diaz from Miami, Jimmy Lake from Washington will both be here. But we begin because it's how we're always beginning these days with the latest in the Aaron Rodgers saga. No, he is not talking. I know he did Saturday about the horses. He's still not talking about the football, but Brett Favre is. In light of the story where Rodgers reportedly told teammates he has no plan to return to the Packers, Brett Favre went on the radio today and says that he ain't budging. He doesn't think Aaron Rodgers is going to budge, and we might have seen the last of Rodgers in a Packers uniform. Hi there, Mike Garafolo. Favre played 16 years. Rodgers has played 16 years with the Packers here. I want to point out Favre said he has not spoken to Rodgers, but he sent him a text on draft day saying, am I going to see you playing for the Saints this year? And Rodgers responded by saying, thanks for checking in. I'll talk to you when this is all over.
Yeah, don't know when that's going to be, by the way. Sounds like it's going to take some time here, but amazing how the parallels between Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre and their careers and how they're sort of winding down in Green Bay, or at least winding down for Rodgers and having wound down already for Favre. Now, for different reasons, right? I mean, Favre was kind of like couldn't make up his mind about what he wanted to do, and the team had to kind of figure out what their next steps were going to be at multiple points along the way. For Rodgers, it was preemptive. It was them going out and getting Jordan Love last year, drafting him, rather than getting a weapon that would help Rodgers. And that seems to really have been, what I want to say the tipping point, but Ian Rappaport said the other day when the team released Jake Kumaro, that was really a tipping point. But it's just the fact that Aaron Rodgers feels like he's out on an island. And as I mentioned on Total Access last night, Rodgers is looking down in Tampa and seeing Tom Brady build the team of his liking, including Antonio Brown, whom the head coach, Bruce Arians, had said, yeah, we're not signing that guy. Yeah, I have a history with him. We're not going to sign him. And then wound up getting him in there as well. Meanwhile, Rodgers is like, I can't even keep Jake Kumaro on the roster, let alone bring in more guys that I would like to bring in here. So that's the frustration here, and that's why we are in large part where we are in this saga.
All right, what do you make of this Bob McGinn report? For those who don't know, a longtime Wisconsin writer, covered, I think, the Packers since Lombardi here. I kid. But he says in The Athletic today that Rodgers has referred to in texts to teammates the GM, Brian Gutekunst, as Jerry Krause. For those who don't know the reference here, Go back to Michael Jordan, Jerry Krause, the GM that helped build those 6 Bulls championship teams. The difference is when Jordan was taking shots at Jerry Krause, they had already won 5 championships. All right, the Packers have won 1 here with Rodgers.
Yes. What do I make of it? I make that it is accurate. I mean, it's been one of the rumors that's been kicking around the last couple of days. Mike Silver and I were discussing it the other day, and I said, well, I don't have anybody that heard it or saw it firsthand, but it's something that's been mentioned, and yeah, you're right, Andrew. I mean, it's Jerry Krause who dismantled that Bulls dynasty, but it's also Jerry Krause who built that Bulls dynasty. I mean, that's a big part of the story being left out here, but it does show the disdain, I think, for Brian Gutekunst's moves and what he's done at general manager. I don't know if it's a personal thing, but at least what he's done in his job that Aaron Rodgers has for him. And I'll add one more thing to this, because now it's all coming out, right? Now that the story's out there, everybody, this happened and this happened and this happened. What I'm told from multiple sources is that Aaron Rodgers was telling the Packers' prospective free agents, basically, before you make any decision, I'm probably not going to be here, right? And to the point where he was telling them, I'm told, all the way back to the beginning of last season. Now, that was in the wake, the months after the team had drafted Jordan Love. Did they believe that was the case or take that into consideration as they made their individual decisions all along the way? Well, David Bakhtiari, who's about as close to Aaron Rodgers as it gets, signed an extension with the team in November. So I think, like a lot of us, the players were hearing that saying, yeah, he's upset, he doesn't love it here, but he'll be here come next season. Well, we don't know right now. And those players who decided on their future decided to make the decisions on their own futures for their own personal well-being rather than whether they thought that Aaron Rodgers was still going to be here. And by the way, those destination spots that he would like to get to, I'm told the players knew all, if not most, if not all of those when they were hearing this stuff from Aaron Rodgers back in the fall.
Okay, real quick here. It's one thing to say that to teammates like Bakhtiari or to Aaron Jones, potentially he re-signed as well. Do you know, was he saying that, Mike, from what you know, to would-be free agents from other teams to dissuade them from joining the Packers?
Do not know that.
Okay.
Do not know that. Just specifically the Packers players who are going to be free agents. He was letting them know, yeah, I'm not going to be here. And by the way, this goes back to Rodgers the other day at the Derby saying that he's upset that the story got out. You talk to this many people along the way, it's going to get out. If you don't want it to get out, keep it to yourself or at least keep it to a minimum.
This one's fun. I mean, not fun in the, like,
check back
Packer
tomorrow.
Fan fun. Check back tomorrow. Mike Garafolo, the latest on the Packers. Thank you.
With the 17th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Alex Leatherwood, tackle, Alabama.
This pick kind of surprises you, huh?
It's an interesting pick because you talk to people around the league, they're all over the map on Alex Leatherwood. Some really like him, some struggle with him.
And how many times did we sit here with Mike Mayock and him say, when a team has conviction about a player, where they get taken doesn't really matter.
All right, let's talk about the Raiders draft class. Alex Leatherwood did go 17 overall. And then Deron Merring, who many people thought was the best safety in the draft, they got him there at 43. I tweeted on Friday night, it looks like the Raiders took a second-round pick in the first round and a first-round pick in the second round. But, hey, whatever works. Malcolm Kuntz, Buffalo, he has some upside there. It was an interesting draft class, I think, here. Jim Trotter's talking about that draft class. Hi there, Jim. And he's talking about overall big picture here with the Raiders under John Gruden, writing about it on NFL.com. Let's start with the Leatherwood pick. Now, I personally think he should have gone first overall. That's after he told me last week that he hates cats. But not a lot of people thought he should go 17.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Andrew. But the issue here is that this continues sort of a disturbing trend by the Raiders. Look, it's one thing to have conviction about a player, but when your past history shows that your conviction doesn't always turn out to be right, maybe you ought to rethink things. I mean, we can go back to 2 years ago when they took Cleveland Farrell 4th overall, and he had no pass rush pedigree, and they're trying to replace Khalil Mack. That hasn't worked out well for them. Last year, they made Henry Ruggs the first wide receiver off the board. They got only 26 catches from him. That didn't necessarily work out well for him. Damon Arnett, who they also drafted in the first round last year, that's still someone who hasn't produced at that level. So from that standpoint, when you look at what the Raiders did in this draft, it seems to be more of the same. And that's why you kind of say, are they just spinning their wheels here? It's as if they think they're smarter than everyone else. But the reality is they don't have the answers to the test because the record does not reflect success.
And it was interesting. And again, I respect the conviction from our former colleague Mike Mayock when he says, yeah, we are offered a trade to move out of 17, but it wasn't good enough to risk losing Alex Leatherwood. Alex Leatherwood just has to turn out to be a great pick and be a Pro Bowler here. But the overall theme here of your article, Jim, is this question. Are the Raiders better off now than they were before Mark Davis wrote that huge check to John Gruden? Are they?
Yeah. No, they're not. And the numbers say that. You can take opinion out of it. Look, in the 3 seasons under Jack Del Rio, they were 25 and 23. In the 3 seasons under John Gruden, they're 19 and 29. And I think ultimately the responsibility rests with Mark Davis because he's the one that gave John Gruden the contract and complete control of football operations. But now let's get closer to home and look at Gruden. You know, since he won that Super Bowl in Tampa, he's 64 and 80. In over 9 seasons, he's 64 and 80. Out of those 9 seasons, only 3 winning seasons. Out of those 9 seasons, only 2 playoff appearances. Out of those 2 playoff appearances, no wins. So he's now going into year 4 with the Raiders in the second stint, and he's yet to have a winning record. You and I both know 3 years in the NFL is a lifetime. So he tore down a team that was basically a year removed from the playoffs to rebuild it, and it hasn't turned out the way that he or the Raider fans have wanted. So ultimately, to me, you cannot say that they are better now than they were when he took over the franchise.
You make a great point as well about their finishing power or their lack thereof. Right. The last 2 seasons, they've opened at 6-4 and 6-3, and then sputtered down the stretch and failed to make the playoffs in each. So you start well, you have that hope, maybe you are turning the corner, but then you can't finish 3 years in. Kind of the same thing. Jim Trotter's article, thank you, Jim, on NFL.com right now. Great read.